Hello everyone and welcome to this video in which I am going to be upgrading a MacBook Pro 15-inch from late 2011. Now this is not my machine, it belongs to a family member who was complaining that the machine had become really slow. And it's a Core i7 machine, so I thought I would have a look to see if changing some of the components out would make things faster. So the first thing you need to do is take these screws out. There are 3 long ones on the top right and the rest are all short ones. And this machine has got a mechanical hard drive and only 4 GB of RAM. So I'm going to swap the hard drive out for an SSD and upgrade the RAM from 4 GB to the maximum of 16 GB. And hopefully it should be a lot better afterwards. I'm going to fresh install High Sierra. So before I started filming, I used the machine in its slow state to create a USB recovery image. And I'll leave a link on how to do that to the Apple website. So once all the screws are out, you can just lift the bottom off and then gain easy access to the components. So the first part I'm going to upgrade is the hard drive, and it has a little bar which secures it in, and that's got captive screws on that, so you don't have to worry about losing those screws once you've undone it. With the bar removed, you can lift the existing drive and gently sort of pry this SATA ribbon cable off. And then that removes the hard drive. Next, you need to remove these little like holding nuts onto the side of it, these little screws. And for that, I used a T6 star screwdriver. And as you can see, I'm just removing each one of those. So here is the original factory hard drive. So that will be over 10 years old now, so it's about time it was replaced. I'm replacing it with a Samsung Evo 860. It's quite a high-end drive. I just used it because I already had it. You could use any SATA drive really, get a decent brand and you can't really go wrong. Next, I'm just putting these little nuts that were removed from the original hard drive into the new SSD. You can, if you want to, take this little plastic pull tab that was on the original hard drive and stick it to your SSD. It might make things slightly easier if you ever want to pull it out again in the future. Put the ribbon cable into the drive and then just sort of drop it in at an angle, and then you can get this securing bar and screw it back into place. Moving on to the memory now, the old DIMMs can easily be removed by just pulling the tabs apart. You can see the old DIMMs there are 2 gig each for a total of 4. I purchased a 16 gig kit, which is the largest this machine can take, and that is 10,600 SO DIMMs DDR3. I'll put a link in the description. It's the Timmy Tech kit, and it's very easy to install. The bottom one, you do have to push past the tabs for the top DIMM socket, but you just put it in at an angle quite firmly and then press down, and then that is all there is to it. So that is both the SSD and the memory upgraded. Now you just need to put the screws back in. So with all the screws put back in, we are now in a position to reinstall macOS X. So first thing to do before turning it on is to put in my USB memory stick with my installer on it. And after the chime sounds, I will hold down the Alt key to access the boot menu. I've got a choice between the internal drive or my macOS High Sierra boot. So I'm going to choose to install the macOS High Sierra. That Samsung drive I used originally had a Windows install on it, so I'm going to need to erase that. So this will take a few minutes to boot up depending on the speed of your USB device. And obviously I've sped this process up for the sake of the video. I think it took about 5 minutes to do. So then we come to the macOS installer screen where we get the option of various options, but I am going to use disk utility so that I can wipe that internal drive. So heading into disk utility, I'm changing the view to show all devices because I want to erase the disk at the highest level, because I had Windows on here before. If you've got a new SSD, you won't see that, but you'll still need to erase in the same way. And now I can close disk utility and install macOS. I'm just going to, pick my internal drive and then just sort of agree to everything and then let it do its thing. So that took about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to continue with the setup here and join it to my Wi-Fi network. And I'm just setting up a user account, and then we should be pretty much done. I can actually already tell how much faster the machine is, even though we're kind of just in the setup stage, but we'll have a look at how long it takes to boot from cold to a usable desktop in a moment. But as you can see, the installation is now complete. So I'm going to remove the USB stick and we'll go from here. So now I'm just booting it up from cold so you can see how long it takes to boot with the new hardware. This machine with the mechanical hard drive took a good 5 minutes to come to a usable state, where you could open Safari and browse to a website, and just for the desktop to settle down. And it did seem like the hard drive never stopped rattling and being busy, so it wasn't a good experience at all. Here you can see we've booted to the desktop in about 30 seconds. And I can get into Safari, no problem. Straight on the Apple website, and it's dead smooth, no problems at all. Let's just have a quick look at About This Mac. Here you can see the new SATA solid state drive and the two 8GB memory modules, and that is that upgrade complete. So just did a little screen recording as well to show you how well the machine works. It's actually very responsive, and it's a real shame that Apple ends support for this machine at High Sierra, which is getting quite old now. So I might actually try OpenCore to install a newer version of macOS and see how well that works. Doesn't look too complicated to do, but in the meantime, if you found this video useful, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a like. And that is it for today. If you try the same on your MacBook Pro 15-inch, let me know in the comments how you get on, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, bye-bye.